too because we were opening up a daycare in our house, and so we had to get all the building codes and stuff. So we were, but yeah, I was literally online trying to figure out the legal slopes of stairs. Yeah. So there's a lot of building codes that have to do with slope. Our church made a handicap wheelchair ramp leading up to it. And there's a lot of laws about the slopes of wheelchair ramps. Because you don't want the poor person in the wheelchair on a slope like this flying down into the parking lot, right? Like it needs to be manageable. So our wheelchair ramp, the door is really high, so it wraps around our building, around the other way, because it had to be really long. The run had to be long. So that way the rise up wasn't so steep.
Put an
Okay,
incline slope
so
on the
run
bottom.
is like crossed, rise is up.
Yeah.
All right. So there's a lot of laws about ramps and stairs and things like that that you can only have so much rise for each run.
Is that why there's only?
Huh?
Never mind.
So when you think of slope, what do you think of? So we thought of some examples. When you think of the word, when I say slope, what pops into your mind?
Snow.
Kaylin, what pops into your mind when I say slope?
She's old.
It's like a word
Slope.
association.
Right?
So when I say slope, what do you think of? Hills, okay? Marcus, when I say slope, you say,
Hill.
what do you think of?
I have no idea.
Hill.
I just get blank.
Blank mind, okay? Alec, when I say slope, what do you think of? A roof, yeah. My father-in-law built his entire house
You got a lot
in the
of
last
stories.
2 years. The only thing he hired somebody to do was to put shingles on the roof because the slope of his roof was ridiculous. Like it wasn't a normal roof, it's like a really tall peaked roof. And so,
Should've sent up my
because
roof.
he had a small piece
Sure.
of property and he wanted a second story, so
I know,
his
you
house
don't even have one.
doesn't
No,
have a
it's
lot of
pretty
run,
tall.
but it has a lot of rise. So his roof, it's okay for a roof, yes. But he did not want to get up there and put shingles on it because he was afraid he was gonna fall.
This winter?
Because it was really steep. So yeah, roofs
I
have
would never
slopes.
get on my roof, dude.
Haley, when you think of slope, what do you think of?
It's so,
Math.
it's so high.
Delight, you think of math when you think of slope?
No, I don't.
I don't even think of it.
Good, okay.
She said no.
That's good, you're right.
It is, it's good that you think of slope in the world and not slope in a math class. That's really
She
good.
said math.
Joe, when you think of
Math?
slope, what do you
Math.
think of?
Yeah, I could.
When you think of, when I say slope, what word pops into your mind? Lawnmower, because that's where Joe deals with slope. Is lawnmower. We had to do the same thing. Our lawnmower
Joe
was
deals
broke. We
what?
had to take it to get it fixed. We had some, I don't know what they're called, ramps, I guess, for things, and it was the longer those boards were, the longer the run, because the rise is going to stay the same to their trail, turn one of your things. But the longer the run was, the less steep the slope was, and the easier it was to push that tractor up there. Good job, you guys. Right now, we're going to take a look at learning targets 5, 6, and 7 today. All of this is review from algebra, but that was 2 years ago, and you guys need your attention.
Maybe for some of us.
But that was 2 years ago, and we want to make sure that it's back in your mind, because we're going to be using it a lot in this unit. So, for learning target 5, at the top of your paper, right, maybe like learning target 5, and then I can find the slope in an equation, maybe. Okay, so you should have your notebooks out right now. I'm sure you need your notebook out.
Your clock just turned off.
I do it every day at noon.
Why don't we, just grab that paper?
Oh, she's got
What?
buckets.
Isn't that paper back there?
Freaking like a billion. Oh,
There's a practice activity. But if you get stuck, you have your notes to refer back to. Okay,
you're proud of it.
so learning target 5. Need your attention in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So we're looking up here. We're not talking. I'm sure we're looking up here, we're not talking.
I'll listen.
Have your notebook out right now? Okay.
Can't live without your phone?
Okay. Not you.
Of course not.
So, learning target 5 is talking about finding the slope in an equation. In algebra, you learned about two different types of linear equations that have the slope in them. One of them we called slope-intercept form, and that was y equals mx plus b. The other one we talked about point-slope form, and that was like y minus the y coordinate equals the slope times x minus the x coordinate. This one probably rings a bell for sure. I don't know if this one doesn't do this quite as much in algebra, but both of those have the slope in them, and the slope is the m. You can remember that because the m stands for mountain, which a lot of you said you thought about with slope is mountains. The m is slope. I don't know why they use m to represent slope in math, but they do. So the slope is m, and it's always the number that's multiplying the x part of the equation. So it's multiplying the x, and it's talking about mountain or slope, all right? So m for multiply, m for mountain, m means slope. It's the number that's multiplying the x. So if we look here in this one, the directions say to identify the slope in each linear function. Here this 3 is multiplying the x, so that's my slope. So right now we're just identifying the slopes. We're looking at an equation and we're thinking, here's my equation. Where is the slope located in that equation? 3. It's the 3. Here, the slope is the number that's multiplying with the x. Negative 3. Here, the slope is multiplying the x. 1/2 or 0.5.
No,
Over here, what's multiplying the x in this one?
-1.
The negative sign, or -1. Yep, so -1. Here it's -5 is multiplying the x. And out here it's like there's an imaginary 1 right there, that's invisible 1 that's multiplying the x. That's learning target 5. It's just knowing that the slope is the number that's multiplying the x. This to 4, how do you feel about learning target 5?
This like finding the slope.
Yep, just picking it out. Okay? So we're good so far. It's all coming back. It's all coming back to me.
Why do you do FIST at 4? FIST at 5.
Because your self-assessment has 1, 2, 3, 4.
This group is
Why
5.
doesn't it have 5?
Yeah.
I don't know. It should. Last year I did 5. So, learning target 6 is talking about slopes and tables. Hopefully this will also ring a bell. For learning target 6,
Yeah.
remember that slope is, the y coordinate is the one going up and down, right? And the x is going across, Cody? So, if we're looking for slope, we're looking for how much we're going up and how much we're going across. That affects the slope, like the wheelchair ramp. You can't go up a whole bunch and over just a little and have this really steep wheelchair ramp.
Yeah, you
You have
can.
to go up a little and over a lot. So your up is your rise, and your over is your run. So we need to figure out what is our change in rise and our change in run. Now slope is always for rise over run, so it's the change in y on top, and it's the change in x on bottom. That's your rise, and this is your run. Rise over run, and that will give you the slope. So if we have a table, we need to look, what is my change in y? What is my change in x? And then put the change in y over the change in x, and that's our slope. So my change in y here, from 2 to 6, that changes by 4. From 6 to 8 is 2. From 8 to 12 is 4. And from 12 to 14 is 2. So those are my changes in y. Now we find our change in x. Well, from -3 to +3, that's 6, 3, Are those really the same thing? They're equivalent, right? I'm just gonna pick 2 over 3 because that's kind of the reduced version of it. But if you write 4 over 6, it's equivalent. I'm not gonna mark that wrong. That's a right answer. All right?
Wait, I don't get how you got 2 over 3.
So my change in y was 2, and my change in x was 3, so it's just 2 over 3. I could have said 4 over 6,
Oh,
but that's the same thing, because it reduces.
You're
All right.
smart.
Let's look at this one. What is my change in y? How do I get from 20 to 16?
4. Minus 4.
Minus 4, negative 4, yeah. So 16 to 12 is negative 4, negative 4, negative 4. So my change in y is going to be a negative 4. Now what's my change in x? And here it's going up by 1 each time. So my slope
Negative 4.
Over 1.
is going to be negative 4 over 1, change in y over change in x, or I could just say negative 4. All right, one more. 8 to 16. Actually, try this one on your own. Take 20 seconds. Get the slope of your own on this one. If you want to do it in your head, you can. If you want to do it on paper, you can. However it works for you. And some of you would rather visualize it in your head.
No, no, yeah.
Yeah, I know it, but I confused myself.
So,
Will we get around that?
no, not for me. As far as I'm concerned, they're the same fraction, they're equivalent. If you have a different teacher for Algebra 2B next year, and that teacher says you have to reduce it or it's wrong, they can do that.
Are you teaching Algebra 2B next year?
I don't know, we find out in May,
Hmm.
or June. Last year we found out in, like,
You want me to pay
after
it?
school. Yeah?
That's Neil's spot?
Stay there for right now. We'll move around in a minute. Okay? So we go up by 2 over here.
Yeah.
So our slope is going to be the change in y, which is 8, over the change in x, which is 2. Or you could say 4 over 1, or you could just say 4. Any of those would be fine. Okay? And again, like what Tyler said, or asked, if you don't reduce it for me, if you say 8 over 2 and leave it like that, I'm not going to mark that wrong because that's an equivalent fraction. They're both right. 4 over 1 is the better answer, and some teachers, a lot of teachers, will tell you they want it reduced or they're taking points off. As far as I'm concerned, they're equal. So you can leave it. Okay? All right. That's when you target 6. How do you feel about that? Finding the slope in a table. Fist to 4, fist to 5 if you prefer.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we're doing okay so far. The last one is learning target 7, and this is finding the slope in a graph. Now, you could think of this as change in y over change in x, or you could think of it as rise over run. The way that we do it is first we find 2 points on the line that hit at corners. And I also put Velcro spots, because on this graph over here, in all of the corners, there's a little Velcro spot that I painstakingly cut and stuck up here, every single one this summer. So, first of all, I would really appreciate it if nobody ripped them off. Because not only are they expensive, I messed up my thumbnail trying to do it. Thank you, Logan. Now, let's say I have this line. So, we'll start it here and make it go here.
It's like tape and glue.
Velcro.
It's Velcro.
You just said that?
Okay.
Okay, here's my line. It goes from here to here, and then it would keep going, but I just can't reach.
Oh.
So, the way that we find the slope of this line is, I'm good, just imagine it keeps going up, is we find 2 points on that line that hit corners. So, any two, you could pick this one and this one. You could pick this one and and this one. You could pick this one and this one. You could pick this one and this one if you want. But you just need 2 spots in the line where it's fit nice Velcro corners. Or if you're looking at a paper and there's no Velcro, obviously just like the crosshair spot there. And then count how you get from one point to the other. Your change in Y goes on top, and your change in X goes on bottom. So think change in Y over change in X. Just like with the table, we did change in Y over change in X. So over here, let's say we pick these 2.
2 over 3.
To get from one to the other, we go up 2,
About 10 times.
over 3, so it is 2 over 3. Okay? What if we have one that looks like this?
Don't get all angry. Hey. That's right.
What if we have one that looks like that? So we gotta find 2 Velcro spots, right? So if we just do this one and this one, let's say. Now we're going down 1 and over 4.
Negative
So
one.
what's our slope now?
Negative 1 over 4.
Negative 1 over 4. Right, so, or you could think of it as a positive 1 over a negative 4 because you're going left 4 if you go from here to here. It's the same thing, okay? Level, basically. We had a level and we had a little sponge thing and it took a long time. So I did this summer.
Fun.
So, I know, but now I have a cool graph on the back. Forever. 'Cause it's painted up
What
there.
if you move rooms?
I'm never moving rooms.
Taking that wall with her.
Yeah. Just chop it out and take it with. Worked too hard on that. So, we have the change in Y over the change in X. So let's say we're just given 2 points. So this is like removing from the graph and you just have 2 points on the graph. If we want to know how do we get from, like what our change in Y is, what the difference is in our Y's, we subtract, because we subtract to find the differences, right? So we want to subtract our Y's, that's the change in Y, and then subtract our X's, that's the change in X. So here's the 2 Y's, so I can do 4 minus 8, Y minus Y, and then X minus X on bottom. 5 minus the negative 2. So 4 minus 8 is negative 4. 5 minus the negative 2, what's that really like? Plus 2, yeah, so it's really like 7. So that would be the slope between those 2 points. Okay, down here, Y minus Y, 1 minus the negative 3. X minus X, negative 2 minus 4. That's like 1 plus 3, so 4 over negative 6. Fist to 4, or 5. How do you feel about finding slope on a graph? So like what we did over there, being able to find 2 spots and how much you go up or down and over. Okay. How do you feel about this part between 2 points? Y minus Y over X minus X. Okay. With the last about 25 minutes, you're going to have an opportunity to decide which practice you would like to do. When you finish that practice, then you can work with, for the rest of the hour on the practice activities, which are all over there in the second shelf down. Or you might still want to work from the first shelf because you need 3 of them that are due by tomorrow for the test that's on Thursday. A lot of you already have them in, but if you don't, then you want to finish those first. Right. I will. Yep. So
Yeah.
here are my questions. Think about you. Think about how you learn.